So, yeah, Cockney, very glad to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, bro. Cheers, boys.
It's alright, man. So before I guess we even start, I'm gonna just tell. I told you how this happened, innit? How we even got this happening. So I'd done my first 6 episodes of my first podcast, and I was planning the next 6. Yeah, and I was like, I need someone a bit engaging, someone a bit interesting. And I've fallen across you first on Made You Think. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
He keeps reposting you on the talk show.
Yeah, big up Made You Think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I keep seeing him. You have quite a few like cool debates with I can't remember the name of the girl with the dreads.
That's Remy, King Rems. Yeah. Big up King Remy.
Shout out her. Yeah, very interesting debates with her.
And we also had in there the Jimmy Conway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were the three people that were there as standard, and then we had guests.
Yeah.
Around us 3 basically.
Yeah.
Myself, Jimmy Conway and King Rems. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy is very cool personality as well. He brought like a lot of banner to that thing. It was quite interesting. Yeah. And then even some of the guests you brought were very cool. And the topics that you, I guess, brought up are quite relevant. And what stood out was, I don't know, I always resonated with your perspective mainly, but probably just to like a lot of alignments. But yeah, it was very interesting the way you spoke as well, and also conducted yourself. I'm not gonna lie, not to like, I guess, blow your horn, but mashallah, especially when some people would really, I don't know, kind of just
have a bit of a funny attitude.
Yeah, do you get it? Like you were very good and calm and like contained. And so anyway, back to the actual story. So obviously I've seen you on Instagram, cool guy.
Yeah, you said that you had pre-recorded you'd finished 6 episodes.
Yeah, done 6.
And then you were going on to the...
And I'm planning the next 6 now, so I'm like...
What topics?
What topics? What should I do? And I was thinking, I had 6 really cool guests. I need some more guests, but I don't know how I'm gonna like bump into them or how I'm gonna get at them. And literally I walked outside my house. Yeah, done like 10, 15 steps. And you walked past me and I said...
Crazy.
SubhanAllah. Do you get it? And that's why when you saw me, I was like, oh no, this is actually happening. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So thankfully, like you're very welcoming. You said like you'll do it.
Yeah.
So
inshallah.
Mashallah, like I said, I think from what I've seen, and I saw your podcast with Joey as well. The motivational thing.
I always forget his Insta name. What's his Insta name? He's got a sort of.
But I think it's called. It's something about mindset. I know his podcast.
A matter of mindset.
Perfect.
Big up a matter of mindset. We got you there.
Bro. But yeah, even I think I watched. I think 2 or 3. I think it's on 2 of him. Or is it more than 2 now?
I've done 2 for sure. I'm not sure. Can't remember if there was a 3rd, but definitely we've done 2.
Yeah, and even those, mashallah, like the way you, I guess, like for me, very inspiring, very motivating. You break things down.
One we spoke about forgiveness.
Yeah, and not holding on for things for so long.
Yeah, and the other one I can't recall.
Yeah, but yeah, that was very interesting. So I guess why I brought you onto here is because I think my people and people who watch my stuff would really benefit from just how you break things down, certain things, and just like me and Taj, you're an Eastender. I mean, longer than we've been Eastenders. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that's, I guess, just a lot of things that people can learn from you. So I'm really happy to have you here. I mean, I know Taj is as well.
I'm happy for the invite. Generally, like, it makes me feel very warm.
We appreciate it. And just I guess for people to know, we're gonna talk about, like I said, Islam, what it's like to be in Eastender, the development of East London, and we're also going to touch on Flat Earth, but we're not going to do it how that guy did it to you, where he was just...
trying to get down my neck with it.
Yeah,
I know.
And he's just getting all mad. And like I said, for me, when people have conversations and they get emotionally active, it means that argument is emotional and not intellectual. And it's, for me, that's very interesting, because it's like, if you can see someone just getting shook from a few words and just getting a bit like interested, for me, it's like, you have to kind of realize that maybe the argument isn't intellectual. And
to be honest, it's if you love something, if you're passionate about it, then naturally your emotions are going to come into play naturally.
Fair.
But I feel like there's a difference between being passionate about something and having your ego attached to it.
Okay.
Both can, from the outside looking in, you might seem like this person's passionate, but being passionate about a topic and being angry are 2 different things as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I think it's about trying to, if as best you can, no one knows someone's heart apart from Allah. We know that, Allah Alam.
Of course.
But when you're on the outside looking, you've got to try and think to yourself, is this person coming from a position of ego or from a position of passion? Because they can both come across angry or seem angry. Understand?
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, and what I've learned what I've learned as I've gotten older is that you have to try to always lead from the heart with empathy. This is what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. He cared about who was in front of him.
Okay.
And try to separate, if you can, anger from the content of what's being said. Because someone can say something to you because they're angry, but they're still saying to you that's loving.
Yeah.
But if you catch on to the anger, then you might retaliate with anger. But if you can feel that what's being said is coming from a loving place, a caring place, although it's being delivered in the wrong way, accept it. And then maybe talk to this individual about their imbalance or temperament at a later stage. Do you understand? When they're calmer and they're in a better position to receive what you got to say to them.
I completely understand.
I do hear you. But I always say the delivery is just as important as the message itself.
100%. Someone can say something to you in a really nice way, but saying something to you that's evil as well.
Yeah.
We're talking to you calm and really polite, but we're trying to get you to go and do something bad. That's what to get it.
Yeah.
So, 100%.
I feel like also when it becomes like when people get angry, it's due, well, not all the time, but it's some of the time it's due to the fact that they can't articulate themselves properly. They get frustrated within themselves.
100%.
Or like me, when I'm conversing, there's times where I'm thinking about how I'm saying what I'm saying, in opposed to what I'm saying. So I'm thinking, as I'm speaking, I'm thinking about like, is this coming out? Like, are they receiving me? Am I sounding dumb? And then I lose the trail of thought, and then that's where the
message gets lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get lost in. I get lost in my own head. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what happens. So there's many facets.
It's definitely an art, isn't it? It's definitely an art.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Just even simple
just communication sometimes. Yeah.
It's certainly an art form. It's crazy.
I think the best part of that is what you said about, like say the art conversation, for example, 100%, it's real. But what I find in those situations is you knowing yourself outside of the interview world. So I say it's a lot. I try to do a lot of self-coaching, but I can only coach myself within what I've learned, within the realms of what I've learned and what I've experienced, obviously.
Of course.
And then external that is going to be things like Islam, your family influence,
Yeah.
your friend influence. Get it?
Yeah.
But what I try to do is, when I'm alone, I think about what, as you know, your hindsight.
Yeah. Perspective.
Obviously, once I've left there, I'll be thinking to myself, I wonder how that went. How did I speak to such and such?
Yeah.
Did I come across the right way? I could have articulated myself better that way. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have acted this. Do you get it?
Of course, yeah.
And I feel like that's necessary for your self-growth. And once you keep on coaching yourself in that way, eventually you're going to be in the same environment again where you get to implement what you've coached yourself on. Understand?
Yeah.
So that may help. So when you're alone, you think to yourself, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said like this. I shouldn't have got upset when he said that, or she. I should have composed myself, maybe not spoken, let myself calm down, let everyone else talk, and then re-enter the conversation. You get it? You're going to know how best to maneuver within what you've experienced. Do you know what I'm saying? And then, but like I said, with practice, you're going to wait for the situation to come around again, it will, because this is what you do. Yeah. Then you're going to get better. Then you're going to get better. Then you'll get
experience.
Yeah, exactly. But don't be too hard on yourself. Don't criticize yourself to a point of depression.
Yeah, 100%.
You get it? It's to criticise to improve, and that's always got to be the intention.
But not to like beat yourself up. That's not really progressive.
Exactly.
I completely get you.
Exactly that.
I completely get you. But yeah, I guess our first point of commonality before anything is like East London. I mean, the heart of London for me anyway.
Come on.
Yeah. So you told me you come from Plaster today, but tell me like where did you grow up, etc. If you don't mind talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I grew up in North Woolwich.
Okay.
It's sandwiched between Silvertown and Bexton. Nobody knows where it is. Whenever you say, I'm from London, like, where's that? South of the river. They always associate the Woolwich with South London.
I thought SC straight away in my head, southeast.
Yeah.
But isn't it? It's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's a very small town. Like everyone's heard of Silvertown.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone's heard of Bexton.
Big bridge, yeah. Galleon's
no one's heard of North Woolwich.
No, I haven't. I'll be honest.
If they have heard of it, like I said, they think it's in South London.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up. I went to a place called Story Street Primary School. I lived on Story Street, so the school was literally about two minutes from my house.
Lovely.
Yes, I was still late in the mornings.
It happened, bro.
It happened. And I'm still late 40 years later. Bro, you know what I'm saying?
It happens, bro. It happens. But what was that like? I guess was that did you grow up in early 90s? Was that late 80s? Like your
Yeah, I grew up in the 90s.
Okay, so obviously like I'm aware East London, especially like Canning Town, Bexon, it's known to be like was quite racist. It wasn't exactly like maybe Tower Hamlets, well even there of course, but that in the 80s 90s got a little bit better. So what was I guess growing up in North Woolwich as a black man during them times? Was it not as bad as maybe?
I'll be honest with you, yeah. To be blunt,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe you've heard this on one of the other podcasts, but my first experience with knowing what colour I was, like realising like, hang on a minute, I actually have colour.
Yeah.
Was I used to play Kiss Chase.
Legendary game.
In primary school, yeah. I used to play Kiss Chase in primary school, yeah. So we were playing Kiss Chase with this individual, this girl, and like every day we would literally meet up and play Kiss Chase.
I trust me. It wasn't every day.
That's what it was.
I get it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to find her. It was sort of like, yeah. See, that's just what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. And one day, I said to her, I'd heard about boyfriends and girlfriends, but I didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
So I asked her, I was like, look, this is primary school, mind you, yeah?
Of course.
So I was like, will you be my girlfriend? Almost said boyfriend.
That big question.
I said, will you be my girlfriend? And then she said, I'll tell you tomorrow. Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
She's been waiting.
Next day, we met up like normal.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I won't be your boyfriend. And I was like, why? And she said, because you're black. My mum told me that you're black, yeah, blah. But she's obviously gone back and told her mum. And the mum said, because she said blah, blah, blah. And that's what she got back.
Yeah.
I don't know how the conversation went, but that's what I got.
And she said that's what she remembered the main force.
Yeah, cool. And I've gone home, like later on, and it's kind of come back to me. And I was like, just thinking about it. Yeah. I thought about it, but I didn't dwell on it. I just thought, black, okay. I didn't dwell on it. I didn't know to dwell on it. But that was the first time that it got said to me.
Okay, interesting.
Another one, I'll give you 3 incidents. This is all in Woolwich in the 90s, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
A little bit older, still in primary school.
Yeah, okay.
Some guys who I got on with were like, there was an after school football club. I think it was like 50p or so, £1, 20 cents like that. So I went home, was living with my nan at the time.
Okay.
Asked my nan some money, told her I was going to basically drop my bag off, explain what's happening, can I go? It's like, yeah, give me the change, and then I went back to school.
Okay.
Got into the playground, obviously the school's cleared now, just a minute ago it was packed, just said school, it's cleared now, all the kids that are waiting for the after school club, they're there. Same thing I've done, gone home or whatever. We're in the playground waiting for the coach to come in. White guy's come over to me and he's gone, what are you doing here? Because I'm obviously the new guy. They know me, but that for me being there is new. Okay. What are you doing here? I'm here for the after school football. And the guys that invited me were there in the background doing their thing. Okay. And he went, nah, no niggas allowed. And I was like, I didn't get it. Mate, I didn't know what that was. Anyway, he said, go on, go, blah, blah, blah. We went home. And my nan's like, you got back quick. Because I've literally just come.
2 minutes away as well. So
around the corner. So I'm back indoors. And then I explained to my nan asked her what's happened. I explained to her. She was calm, yeah. She was like, oh, okay. She was making dinner. She went, okay, blah, blah, blah. And my nan used to walk with a towel on her shoulder. Okay. Because she's always cooking. She dry her hands. Cool. I understand now. It's like it's quite unhygienic, isn't it? Because you're handling food and drying her hands. But that was her way, innit? She was washing her hands and drying it here.
That's an image you see a lot.
Yeah. She's got like an apron on and she's cooking all the time, innit? Anyway, she took that off, set it down the side, washed her hands, told her to wait by the door, and popped her slippers on. And we walked over to the school.
I love that. Yeah. Come on.
Walked over to the school. I think she kept her apron on, actually. But
Ragga mode.
Yeah. We walked over to the school and we stood on the outside of the school, and the school had a low brick wall and a barred fence on top of that, like railings, basically.
Yeah, I see you.
She said, "Who said that to you?" I said, "Such and such." She called him over. The boys looked. He's come over a bit sheepish, yeah. And then he stopped a little bit away from the railings, but then said, "Come closer." He stepped a bit forward, and has reached through the railing like quick. Boom! Grabbed him, pulled him up against the railings, pulled a knife out. She was cutting the chicken with or whatever. Pressed it up against him, and said to him, "If you ever talk to my son, if you ever say it to my son again, etc., etc., like that, let him go." Yeah, told me to go back into the playground.
Okay,
that, yeah.
I love that.
I promise you, wallah, from that day, I see that guy now. What's happening, Clint? How's things? How are you? And he's always been nice to me. Always. Yeah? No, but whether you find that genuine or not, he's always been nice to me since that day. Always, yeah. And well, that was it basically. There's a lot of other stories, but
of course. But so I guess for seeing that, like I said, from being called that and not thinking it's too much of a bad thing, to then seeing your nan's reaction to that, how did you process that? Like,
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
It like to be honest, racism didn't start to bother me until it really bothered me when I was about. Now, how can I explain this? I believe in racial banter. Yeah, okay. I don't think black people should be calling each other niggers. I don't like that at all. I don't think anyone should be calling anyone nigger. Standard.
Of course.
But racial banter, I've had. I definitely get it. But I also think that racial banter should be amongst people you have that comfort with.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I was watching that podcast, like, the 4 More Miles on. I was watching
yeah. I don't think you should be calling. I don't think all these rappers today that have got loads of money, nigga this, nigga that. I don't respect that. I don't respect them, but that action
I understand.
I don't like it. Mm-hmm. So I was working. Remember the Sunday market? I was too young for you. There used to be a Sunday market. Basically, where Royal Docks University is now, that used to be a Sunday market.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they would employ local people. Myself, being one of them.
Okay.
One of my friends. We walked over there to get a job. You'd have a job for either setting up, setting down, or for the whole thing. Understand?
Yeah.
Once you set down, if someone else needed work, you'd go around asking it, and someone else would see you another 10 or 20 quid, helping them set down as well. Or just pack their stuff back away because they're working alone, basically. You get it?
Yeah.
So I finished my bit, got some money. I was there for the day, so I set up, working, and set down.
Okay.
Walked around, see if I can help anyone else. To be honest with you, they're like a community.
Yeah.
They all know each other.
Yeah.
They're there week in, week out, etc.
Of course, yeah.
Went to this guy. I'd never met him before, but I knew his store. He was selling outdoor ornaments, garden ornaments. Okay, so he had like gnomes, a big mushroom with a fairy on it, and water features, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He said, give us a hand, I'll give you a 10 or 20 quid or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Helped him. And we were just getting towards the end of it, yeah? And there was a point where he was close to me, but no one else would have heard what he said to me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
There's people all sitting down, so we're all like walking across and past each other. He went, "You're a strong black cunt, you are." And I was like, "You're talking about it now more because now you're teenagers. Do you get it?"
Yeah.
And that's when it bothered me. That was the first time it kind of bothered me. That time I went home angry this day. And then I was sitting there, I was like, you know what, this is like, you should have said to me why. Then you start questioning yourself. Yeah. What's wrong with me? Why is he talking to me like that? Like why? So and for me then I started to ponder, where's that come from? Like why? Just why? Loads and loads of why? Why
does it even exist?
Why is he saying it to me? What have I done to him? Or what? Because I was just working. I can understand if I'd have instigated something.
Yeah, of course.
But it just come out of nowhere. I had loads and loads of questions, but eventually that dies away, doesn't it? Well, I don't know what's right for you, but but it dies away and then it comes back again. Do you understand? That's when in my youth it's come back. But as an adult, I've dealt with it in a different way.
Okay.
To get it, listen, I've got stories as long as my arm, dealing with people that I've provoked, they've been racist.
Yeah.
Or unprovoked, they've been racist.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and maybe Taj can resonate more with that fact. Like, for me, I'll be honest, I never got even any kind of racial thing until I left to go like uni in Leeds, and then someone just screamed out, "You Paki!" like outside, and I was like,
I'm not even Pakistani.
Yeah.
You see, look, you see what you just said, yeah? I know what you are. Sorry, I can't say exactly.
Yeah.
I know what you're not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can look at you like you're not Pakistani.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I can see that you're not.
Yeah.
And I say this to my other friends that are around my generation, my age.
Okay.
You don't realise how blessed you are growing up in a multicultural environment.
Honestly.
100%, bro.
You don't. Until you get out into the big wide world and you realise how uncultured everybody else is.
Literally, bro.
That's the thing.
It's a bubble, like, especially East London. Like, it's a huge bubble.
Yeah, but it's a blessing. And better to embrace it and learn about these other cultures around you. Learn about the other colours of people, religions, beliefs, lifestyles. Better for you to learn that, embrace it, and not have any kind of prejudices. But when I was young, we didn't have that anyway. There wasn't, like I said, we had racial banter.
No, of course.
But my clique of friends, I didn't see that. Maybe they had, I don't know, like I said, Allah knows the hearts, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
God knows what's inside their chest, but I never saw any kind of like, I'm not going to talk to him because of, I'm not going to do it because of this. Do you understand? Yeah. And if that was the case, I've learned to distance myself from them happily and comfortably. Do you get it?
I get you.
You're definitely right in regards to how you're lucky. We're lucky to have this. Like, I was due to Munsef. We've been best friends from since year 7, and he was teaching me like what inshallah meant, what mashallah meant from young. So from very early age, I understood, and that's like with other friends. Like, I'm Jamaican myself, but I had another friend, African, and he was often inviting me over. I was meeting his parents. I was understanding their culture, and it wasn't. You see that diaspora, that divide that we have between Africans and Caribbeans or whatever, and it wasn't really that for me. It was around, but for me it wasn't really that.
It was like you said, loose banter. Like, yeah, sometimes you'd be like, oh, I mean, you like all the Africans would be like to the Caribbeans, you're actually African and but we're still brothers. And do you know what I mean? Like,
but even then, I'm not gonna deny the fact that there was times where there was a divide.
Fair.
Where
what in school? Do you think?
I never really saw it myself, but like I see a lot on social media.
Yeah,
where they say that Africans were claiming to be Caribbean or whatever. Or it wasn't a trend to be. It wasn't trendy to be African.
That I resonate with though.
Okay.
That like I was, as being Algerian, when I first come to Walthamstow, and some people, I'm Algerian, they'll be like, what's that? But next to Morocco. You know what I mean? That's the only way people would even know what Algerian meant. You get it? So to the point where like, it's not like I don't think it ever negatively affected me, but it was like it wasn't in the forefront. Like for me, Algeria is the biggest country in Africa size-wise, so it's funny that people will know Morocco that's like that big. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say there was any kind of divide. You know what I'm trying to say? If anything, I'll be honest, I didn't see myself as different to black people until I got to uni. Do you get it? And it was like the black people at uni didn't see me as like same as them. Whereas at school, there was no differentiation between like, I mean, we're all the same. Like, I mean, black, white, African. There might have been banter, do you get it? Or like, oh, you're stiff because you're white, do you get it? Or little things like that, but it's not.
The social banter that you kind of get into. I get it, like the cooking thing or whatever else. Like I said, but that's only got to be done with who you are.
100%.
For me, who you're close to.
100%. And if anything, like I said, I think you said it's the blessing that in one class you'll have a Clive, a Mandeep, I mean, a Jermaine, and a Muslim guy, and another guy, and an Asian guy. That I think I didn't realize how lucky we was to have that until I went like up north, to Leeds.
I felt like I was like a thumb on a world full of fingers. You know what I'm saying? It just felt different. But like that was the only like I've experienced racism in London.
Okay.
But it wasn't till I came out of London where I felt, oh shit, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like similar to your first example, I was in secondary school and I was dating a white girl at the time.
I'll tell you a story about that after. I'll tell you a story that I had about that after.
And no, we were dating for a while, wasn't it? We were dating for a minute. And I think we must have been after school chilling around her area near her house. And I think her brother must have saw us. So he took a picture and then must have either sent it to her mum or took it home.
Raw, yeah.
And then the next day, she come to me. I was like, oh yeah, we can't be together. My mum won't allow it.
Romeo and Juliet, yeah.
Yeah, why? Lie. They were like, oh, solely because you're black.
Yeah, I bet she got 6 mixed race kids now.
She's dealing with black men after me. I was like, oh.
That was the excuse. She wanted you out.
But what happened?
And then...
how did you handle that? How did it make you feel?
At the time, yeah, it made me feel similar to you. It made me feel like, this is a bit shit. But I kind of got over it. I remember speaking to one teacher about it, as a white teacher, and I must have told him, and you could see the shock on his face, the concern, like, how are you going to deal with this mentally? But literally, I think the scope of it went over my head, like what was really happening. I didn't really clock it at the time, you know what I'm saying? But later on, that's when you said like you realised it later on, or like you learned
the
from
gravity
later on,
things,
and, you're thinking about
looking
it.
back, yeah.
That's what happened with me, and then I started like thinking about all these instances, whether it's small, whether it's just banter, and I'm thinking to myself, is this really like
life?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a reality, yeah.
Is this reality of the situation? When I went to Bournemouth, it was just more in your face. I got called a black cunt. I remember I was walking down the road and someone shouted while they're driving past. And you know, it's one of those things. Because they're already gone, you can't deal with it.
And they'll only say it more time in the car.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I wouldn't even know if they stopped and called me, how would I deal with it? How would I react to it? I've got bananas thrown at me in Bournemouth, you know what I'm saying? It's weird, like, coming out of a place where it's not really considered that. Like,
cherished, if anything.
Yeah, like, you're not really looking at people's race. You're looking at them for who they are, what their name is. You know what I'm saying? That's literally it. Obviously, there's no problem with seeing colour.
I have to interject. You have to keep hold of that as well. And what you said as well. You both said the same thing, yeah? You've said you don't see it, right? You're not judging people, but you're taking people on, how they are with you. And you said as well, when you was in university, you said, you didn't really see it. That's not, you have to keep a hold of that. And that will keep you genuine.
Keep a hold of what? Break it down. The
feeling of, and the mindset, the approach to people being, I'm not looking at you because of, I'm not hating it, I'm not hating on you because of. You need to keep a hold of that, because what our, let's just call them overseers, want is divide.
Of course, divide and conquer.
Understand? Yeah, exactly. And that divide, I like to call it layers. As soon as you suss out a layer, get rid of it.
100%.
It must go.
100%.
Otherwise, what's going to happen? You're going to end up developing prejudices and all these isms. They really have to be stripped back. Every single one has got to be stripped back. Now, what I've learned as well, I know I've interrupted you. I know I have to, but I feel sorry.
That's why you're here, to teach us.
I'm not here to teach, to only share you what I've learned, because you're going to teach me some things as well.
Fair.
Yeah, so it goes, it's a two-way street.
Of course. Inshallah.
What I've learned is that if you feel something in your chest, see if you watch something on Instagram, on the TV, news, whatever's being fed to you via the media. If you feel something like hate or dislike, that's a layer that's got to go.
100%.
Understand? Like, for example, see the way the Jews are towards the Muslims in Palestine. Thank you. It's not Israel.
Of course not.
Yeah, it's called Philistine. Yeah. That's what it is. But these people would have you believe it is Israel, but they say it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So you now call it Israel.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it's called Palestine. That's what it is. And what they're doing is an illegal, even if you want to put morality aside, if you want to put Islamic law aside, if you want to put Jewish law aside,
by secular
international law, what they're doing is an illegal invasion of a country. Understand?
100%.
That's what it is.
Genocide, ethnic cleansing, everything.
Yeah, but what we're doing that's wrong is labeling all Jews as something.
Yeah. 100%.
Similarly, when you get the average person who doesn't have any Muslim friends, every Muslim is a terrorist. Yeah, we know better. We know better, but believe me, there's small-minded people. When they see you're fasting, don't think every time it's going to be all love, all rosy. It's not.
Of course.
Because these individuals have a problem in their hearts towards Muslims. So we have to have the good character to be able to try and teach them, as in guide them, advise them, show them something different.
I agree.
But at the same time, we have to apply it to ourselves when it comes to this Jewish thing out there.
100%.
Because we don't deserve all of the
hate.
And neither do they.
100%.
Amongst them is good and amongst them is bad. Same as Islam.
100%.
Amongst us is good and amongst us is bad.
And a good example of that is, for example, the Jewish Voice for Peace in Israel. Like, there is a big organization who are actually pushing for like less. I guess obviously there's a big part of Israel which are supporting the colonization and like the destruction of Palestine.
Bad stuff.
Yeah, but there is a big voice now, a Jewish Voice for Peace, who are actually shining a light on the Jews themselves, and they're Jewish themselves. Yeah. And another example are the Orthodox Jews. You know what I mean? Who
they're persecuted as well by the other guys. Which is actually, if I'm right, I don't want to say any names, but like any wrong names. But yeah, like you said, the Orthodox Jews who, if anything, you can compare them to the Salafists of Islam who follow by the book, don't actually believe that the state of Israel should be here now. So it's funny that the people who follow the Torah to the book don't believe in what the secular Jews are prescribing in terms of this is because the morality is similar. Because we know they're both books of Allah. Although we accept that our book is the most preserved, the Quran. There's this because they both come from the same source. There's this line of sincerity that even they can see now, which is good, alhamdulillah. 100%. Yeah, to get it, which is 100%. Good. But going back to the initial point, just to close it and keep it moving.
Yeah, of course.
Boys, wherever you go through life, always try to meet people with, like I said, lead with the heart. You can have social understanding, of course, because like what you said, you got an African friend, you got an Algerian friend, you're Jamaican, your friends from here, there, wherever. This is good because now you've got a social awareness, which is necessary.
100%.
And I feel like I said earlier on, because of our environment, we've got a lot of that multicultural experience to get it. But lead with that. It's very, very important. And don't get blinded by this colour, but forget all that. Yeah.
And sticking on that idea of divide, I don't know, you might see this pattern, but like if you look at historically, just the past 60, 70 years, they are just putting more and more layers. And I think the final layer of that fear and divide is the virus in terms of, we'll start from like the 60s, 70s. The biggest fear is communism. Do you get it? Capitalism versus communism. The idea of sharing for the American and the West, it was like, we have to get rid of that. So they made it a fear. Then it became, now the fear is black people. Maybe even before it, but do you know what I mean? The next fear was, you gotta hate race. And then it became the fear for Muslims, terrorism. And I think now that next step of division to keep people divided completely is, you have the virus, or you might have the virus, get away from me, do you get it? And I think, like you said, the only way to not be destroyed by them schisms is to actually realise that this is just another way of dividing and conquer humanity.
Control,
and controlling movement. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I think, like I said, we're gonna see division everywhere, and it does make sense. Like if you're gonna try to control the world and not move, control everyone and not have humanity, 8 billion people fighting against a few, the number one way is to divide them and make them hate each other. Do you get it? So it's like for me, hats off to the evil man up there in terms of their master plan is almost kind of working. Do you get it? Because there are these divisions. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay, you know, these wrong uns, yeah. I Can we F and blind it here?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's on my page, so you're thinking what? Say whatever.
I want to try to take myself without being with good words.
Yeah, I get you.
That's what I want to try. Yeah.
But if you can't, don't worry. If you can't, don't worry, bro.
Yeah, you know, ultimately, Iblis is the problem.
Of course.
Ultimately, you know what Iblis is. Iblis, the Christian equivalent would be, or the same personality with different names, Lucifer.
Right.
You know, you understand the story of Lucifer, but just in short, the Christian belief is that Lucifer was an angel that disagreed with God. I'm going to give you a shortened version. Disagreed with God, got kicked out of heaven, and all his followers left with him. There was a war in heaven and they left. This is the Christian belief. In Islam, same personality, but we believe he wasn't an angel, Malik. We believe he was a jinn. So he had the choice to worship. Therefore, he had the choice to reject God. Our concepts of malaika, angels, is that they're commanded to do something and they do it. If they ask questions, it's out of curiosity, not out of objection. Understand? And the Christians believe that Lucifer was an angel that rejected, but we don't believe that happens. Jinn have free will, mankind has free will, and that's why he was able to say no, I don't want to, and rebel. You get it? But the malaika is subservient.
So what is
they're commanded to do, they do.
So would you say jinn is a demon or no?
No.
Demon is like an evil, like a jinn is literally an unseen creation of man. Do you get it? So like on earth,
Creation of Allah.
Yeah, sorry, creation of Allah. So mankind is humans, and the jinns are literally just unseen. Do you get it? So they have free will. There's good jinns, bad jinns, Muslim jinns, but they're just the unseen spirits of the world. Do you get it?
Understood.
Yeah. So from those jinn, some are evil, like what the brother said. Some become demons, but you get demons from mankind as well. Understand? So mankind become demons through their actions. You get it? They not change form. They don't grow horns and wings and start breathing fire. Not like that. But their actions taken to a point of being demon-like. Do you understand? Same as the jinn. Their actions taken to a form of, not a form, but their actions classify them as demons. You get it? So from the mankind, you have demons. And from jinn, you have demons. You get it? Okay. So Iblis is the problem. Yeah. After Iblis, Dajjal. Dajjal in Christianity is we say Dajjal in Islam, and in Antichrist in Christianity. You get it? So he has a partner called the Beast. So these two existed at the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they exist today. We know that. Yes, they're the cause of all these issues. Working alongside the demons from mankind. Get it? You have to understand that if Iblis could, he would destroy all mankind if he could. But Allah hasn't given him the resources or the power to do so. Get it? And there was a conversation between Allah and Iblis that's covered in the hadith as well. There was a brief conversation where Allah said, bow down. He said, no, I'm not bowing down. I'm better.
I'm made of fire.
Exactly. And this is in the second chapter. It's around verse 27, 28 in Surah Baqarah. But there's a longer conversation in the hadith about that. And it's more detailed. That conversation went on longer. And more things were said. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. To tie that into what's happening today. Who wants mankind to be friends? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Perfect.
Right? Who wants mankind to be divided? Iblis.
Perfect.
You get it?
100%.
So everything off of that, where you see us fighting, arguing, don't get me wrong, people are going to argue anyway. But to the levels of division that we have today, consistently, all over the world, separation, war, this, etc., etc. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these things, mankind's deciding to do, because Allah hasn't given power Allah hasn't given power to Iblis to take over man. It's whispering. You get it? It's like they'll whisper and whisper to you, so you feel like you're reasoning with yourself.
Right.
You get it? It's for and you're reasoning with a demon. You get it? So you have to kind of be very aware of your thoughts, how you're processing your thoughts, what thoughts you're processing, because some are going to come from a demon, and others are genuinely going to come from you. You might be planning what you're going to do tomorrow. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand? So you've got to try and be very aware of your thoughts. Ultimately, to like bring that to a crux, I'd say.
Yeah.
All that's happening, a lot of it around the world, we have to be aware that there's another entity that tempts us to say things, think things, do things, etc., etc. But it's down to us to have self-control. But there's a other level of people that intentionally communicating with these demons.
Right.
Do you understand? To push mankind in a certain direction. You get it? And it's going to go that way. because certain prophecies have to be fulfilled. So the world has to go in a certain direction before we have what's called. Have you spoken about the minor and major signs?
Not on the show. I've spoken to you about, like, we had conversations about what, like, example, the prophets prophesied in certain times in history. Do you get it? That have happened and that are going to happen. But I've never done that actually on the show, so it should be a great start to that.
Yeah. I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
My level of understanding is very surface.
Okay.
But there's major and minor signs. Which you also know. So the link between the minor and the major is Imam Mahdi.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
So eventually, for him to come about, Allah will make it happen, of course, in His time, and then for the return of Isa alayhi salam.
Yeah.
Once these things happen,
tell them for who Isa alayhi salam.
Isa alayhi salam is Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah. So we believe He's got to return. Christians believe He's got to return as well. Christians believe He's going to fight the Antichrist. So do we. Get it? Mm-hmm. The Jews believe. Now, I can't say which Jew it is, but there's a portion of them that believe the Antichrist will be their Messiah that they're still waiting for, because they rejected Jesus at the time. Understand? Do you know this story? Yeah. So when Jesus came about at that time, they was like, no, you're not our Messiah. They rejected him. They said he wasn't a prophet, etc., etc. Mary wasn't a virgin, etc. And they had some degrading stuff to say about him and his mother. So they're still waiting for a Messiah. So they'll take the Dajjal, the Antichrist, as their Messiah. They'll say, okay, this is the guy we've been waiting for, this is him. Understand? So then it's going to cause a war, which is coming, a war between these people that are going to be following Antichrist, Dajjal, and the believers. Understand? Yeah, and the believers at the time will be Muslims, and there'll be a faction of Christians. They'll work together. It's a long story, but they'll come to a point where they'll end up dividing, and then they'll war amongst themselves. But that's a long story, and we're not here to talk about that or get into that. But I would definitely find out about it. Do you know what I'm saying? But the reason why I say all that to say this: the world's going in a certain direction. Yeah, perfect. What happens on that path, we don't know. Allah. Apart from what Allah has revealed to us. And through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
But I do think, if anything, that the things that are happening and like the hadith and these prophecies make sense for these things, because like you look at it and it's like, if you look at humanity and the way like now everything's like a concrete jungle, most of the people have to work for like a certain wage, like we're enslaved through money. Do you get it? Like financialization, and humanity could have gone a so different route. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like there's fruits. I mean, like there was no need for all of this to kind of happen, but it only makes sense for me through the fact that there is another entity that actually wants to mislead humanity in a way where all this is now okay. Like, as you just go, like, for example, the way music culture has developed today, like certain, like the Hollywood, all these things, the way they're such powerful entities and they control so much through soft power and just mindset, and just that the reach they have now for me only makes sense through understanding hadith and the fact that these things kind of have to happen, because it's like, how else? I mean, or why else is there? Even just like music videos, for example, and it's like someone, maybe like Kanye West didn't sign his name in blood, do you know what I mean, to say I'm gonna get loads of record deals, but that idea of selling like anything haram or anything that's not pure for this dunya is selling your soul. You know what I mean, that's a transaction of your soul that, you know what I mean, is being sold. So it's like the only way that I rationalize these things after a while is that like you said, the prophecies of. I'll give you another one, subhanAllah. So I'm literally watching, I don't know if Yasser al-Qadi, he does like, he's doing lectures of the major and minor signs. I just went on YouTube, someone actually recommended to me. SubhanAllah, 1,400 years ago, the Prophet ﷺ said that one of the biggest problems of humanity will be obesity. I mean,
how did he?
Yeah, bro, obesity, subhanAllah. And think of that. You think of a time when 1,400 years ago, you might find 3 or 4 fat people. I mean, maybe a king's son or someone, do you get it? Most people are active, you know what I'm trying to say, or quite poor, do you get it? Yeah. So to say that, and it's like, no one really understood when, how, but we're UK's biggest health crisis.
I'm sure we can check the stats.
Do you know what I mean?
That,
obesity. Or just one more before we change topic, which for me, I think is very relevant to this day, that it's only also been relevant in the past 50, 60 years, subhanAllah, is that, he said, it's called, the term is kesiyat ariyat. He said that women will be dressed, but they'll be naked. And it's like, from 1,000 years ago, where women were literally all in gowns and covered, and to the extent where you don't, like, you wouldn't even see his wives. Do you get it? They would literally be hidden away. Do you get it? And as a time of respect to now, where like the normal dress sense is leggings. Like, do you know what I mean? And even for men, not just for women, do you get it? But people will be dressed but naked. Do you get it? And that's not like a 1,000 years ago or even 500. That's a modern phenomenon. Do you get it? Even just 60. The miniskirt only came about 60 years ago. Do you get it? So it's like, for me, I'm not gonna lie. Reading the major signs does really bring me closer to Islam, because it's like someone said this 1,000 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Years ago, yeah.
Like, so
it's accurate.
To the T, not even like a cryptic message or something. You get it? Like,
a bang on. That's right.
do you get it? And it's like, for me, it's subhanAllah to see this. Like,
it kind of like reaffirms your faith.
Perfect. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And especially in times when you need it, and obviously growing up in just London in the West, I mean, you need reminders. You need certain things to say to you. Actually, look, I mean, what you was doing or where I was, the direction I was going, is not all it seems to be. Do you get it? Like, I was like 16, 15, looking up to like A$AP Rocky and that, thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be a record label manager and I'm gonna like do so much stuff like in certain industries that just 3 or 4 years later, my whole
your mind changes. Yeah. For you, but that's Allah guiding you, Aki. Because a lot, I mean, all of us need guidance. Ultimately, every human being needs guidance, and whether people are accepting of Allah or not, He guides them, He feeds them, He clothes them. Understand? 100%. But in a sense, that's a protection as well, because a lot of us are doing the wrong thing, myself included.
Well, no one's perfect.
Yeah. You get it. Yeah.
And even like, I guess something to touch on for me in terms of that, like in terms of Allah guides everyone. Just the beautiful fact that Allah only judges you on the message you actually receive yourself. I mean, so not everyone's going to be shown Islam in the same way. Like for me, who's born Muslim, the way, or Taj, who's not born Muslim, our message is not the same. Do you get it? If you're raised on Islamic principles, and then you deviate, your punishment is much more severe than someone who, for example, grew up in Texas and for the first 25 years of his life, all he's seen is...
Like me, for example, you mean?
Oh, yeah, for example, that's actually a great transition. I love that. So let's talk about... So I'm assuming you're a revert, brother.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
First and foremost, you see the term revert?
Yeah. So you actually mentioned this when I spoke to you.
It's fine, yeah. So revert and convert were names given to Muslims by enemies of Islam. That's the term they had to come up with to distinguish who had accepted Islam. As I say, call us reverts and converts. Understand? Yeah. But then the Muslims have taken it on. Okay. And I don't feel like there's a harm in it. I feel like it just needs to be more awareness needs to be raised that all the stories that we read about the Sahaba, this person became Muslim, this person took their Shahada, this person accepted Islam. You get it?
Much more endearing.
They're never called
reverts. Yeah, that's so true.
No one's called a revert or a convert. This person was a Jew, he took his Shahada. This person was a Christian, this person was a non-believer, blah, blah, blah. And they took their Shahada, they accepted Islam. That's always the way they were referred to. They were never referred to as converts and reverts by the Muslims of old. It's the Muslims of present day that use that because we've caught on, because our enemies used to call us that, so they could distinguish who was born a Muslim and who had become a Muslim. They would say this one's a convert, this one's a revert. Understand? Yeah. So then we've taken it on. Like I said, I don't feel like there's any bad intention when the Muslims say it. There isn't.
Of course.
But I feel like it just has to be highlighted because there's always this kind of like
label, if anything.
Yeah.
You're a revert.
And we don't want to create any divisions
100%.
within Islam. There are enough sects, etc.
Already,
And I've seen many times, and although I feel like it comes from a pure place, you have some mosque or some organisations, they set up a Eid for reverts or a Eid for converts. Yeah. And although I know it's coming from a good place because they're trying to get people together, like, I can't talk for everyone, but I don't want a label.
Yeah, no,
like
100%.
If I'm Muslim and you're Muslim,
we're all Muslim.
Right. 100%. You don't have converts and reverts in Christianity.
Yeah.
They say to amongst themselves, he's Christian.
Yeah.
This person's Christian.
100%.
So why are we Muslims? We say to each other, convert, revert.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you get it?
100%. Yeah. I think if anything, as well, before we actually talk about the journey, mashallah, like for example, like I said, I don't think it comes from a negative or even like a harmful place because like even learning the term revert from convert, because like even me, I learned first convert until someone said, no brother, revert, they actually revert because we're all born Muslims. You get it? So I think even for them, people calling other people revert is like a way of endearment.
I get it.
But like you said,
like
making it a label in itself, I think that's another level of education for people. Do you get it? That if anything, like I said, if mashallah, if anything, you want to be labelled as a Muslim and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, talk to me. Obviously, growing up in East End, so do you mind talking about culture? Like, where are you from?
Whatever you want.
Alright,
wherever
so what country? Are you Jamaican?
On my mum's side, so far as back as I know,
okay, yeah.
Mum's Jamaican, Nan's Jamaican.
Okay.
No, my nan was half Scottish, half Jamaican. So my nan's mixed race, basically.
Okay.
My nan's half Scottish, half Jamaican.
Okay.
And on my dad's side, they're from Montserrat, which is another island in the Caribbean. Yeah. So I'm half Montserratian, half Jamaican.
Okay.
And a little bit of Scottish in there from what I know. And sorry, our island in Montserrat was mixed with the Irish. So, but I don't know what part of my granddad or my grandmother on my dad's side was Irish. I could, if they were at all. Okay, but I know that they were mixed with the Irish.
Okay, I get you.
Our national anthem in Montserrat has national anthem is African drums and the Irish flute combined together. Wow! You to hear it, you're like, what's going on here? Like, like you can hear the two distinctive. Sounds. You're like, oh, those are drums and that's the Irish flute.
I'm gonna check it out. Does it fit though? Does it fit or is it a bit of a...
Well, you have to find out.
Yeah, subjective. I hear you. I understand.
But you can hear that there's definitely a mashup here. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? There's definitely a mashup. But yeah,
it's a good celebration. That's the background. I guess a good celebration of culture. I mean, to an extent. But so yeah, talk to me. I guess maybe before accepting Islam and maybe how you got to.
I suppose I'm your average guy, bro.
How did it happen? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just your average guy. I say me becoming Muslim was like, a lot of people think when I talk to people, I understand why they say this. They're like, you must have been in prison. you must have been going for a really, really bad time in your life, right? You must have
mainstream,
you must have been so like,
lost or whatever else.
And I'm like, yes and no.
Okay.
So let me clear up. Let me separate the yes from the no.
Go on.
Had I ever been in prison? No. By the time I was 21, which was the age that I embraced Islam, I had only ever been arrested twice. Once when I was really young, and I've got to tell you this story. I have to tell you this.
Go on.
A friend of mine moved out of their home. Yeah. We were like teenagers. It's the summer holidays, and they had left the keys with one of our other friends to this house. Yeah. The son did, because we were his mates. So he had a set of keys. He gave it to our boy. So we just go in there. We go and chill in it, like, because you know it's sometimes it's not everyone's mum is in the mood to have her house loaded up with kids in it. You know, one day it's okay, and one day she's like she don't want everyone in the house in it. You know where it is.
100%.
So it was one of those days. So we were sitting inside this house, chilling. SETI was there, power was on. Although there was no TV, we were just in there, just chilling it. Yeah. Someone told the police that we was in there. Bum, 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 get out, police kicking off the door. We jumped out the windows. I jumped out the window personally. I jumped out the window. Three of us got away. One guy got caught. He G'd everybody up, He took the police to everyone's house. He took the police to everybody's
school round.
They literally went in a meat wagon, and knocked on everyone's door. Come to my house, police at my door. My nan took her wig off, went crazy. She didn't have a wig, that's a phrase, obviously. She went crazy. Please come in to my house. Were you there? I was like, yeah. Did you take anything? And I was like, I actually did. I took a screwdriver, I don't know why I took a screwdriver.
What's the plan of action there?
I don't know. I don't know who did that screwdriver, but I had it anyway,
DIY.
So they said, what did you say? I said, I took a screwdriver, give it back to them. And they said, all right, come outside. We want to talk to you. And my nan's like, go on, have a chat with him, whatever. Listen, put me in this meat wagon, outside my house. I'm in a meat wagon with like 10 police officers, The guy sat me in the middle between police officers, There's a line of police officers opposite me. The meat wagon then, it wasn't like what it is now. Then it was, in the back of the meat wagon was 2 rows of seats, and they faced each other. Now they look like little holiday vans. Yeah. But that's how it was then. Yeah. Sat me down, ripping into me. You're never gonna romance and nothing. You're gonna have nothing. You're gonna be poor your whole life. You're useless. You're worthless. Blah blah. Shouting. Yeah. Oh, my heart was in my neck. It was in my neck.
Yeah, of course.
When he shut up, I said, bruv, you're here with all your mates, chucking it to me.
So
I'm in a van by myself, like, and you're talking like that to me. What you think you're some big man or some hard man, bruv? Yeah. That's how it went. They let me out the van, and I went home. And that's something that I don't often think about, but it makes me think now. Like I said, I don't think about it at all. Hardly think about it ever. But it makes me think to myself, you know what? There's some people out here, they're really hell bent on hate.
Yeah, 100%.
But again, as I say, something I've got to try and advise you guys on. Don't let that energy affect you, and don't let that energy make you think all police officers are, or all white men are, because that's not the case. Because we have white brothers in Islam,
100%,
and white people we know that are our brothers. You get it? So you can't let these actions affect your heart. If they do touch you in your chest, then you've got to say, you know what, that's got to go. That's a lad's got to be shipped away. You understand? Because you can't grow up fearing police officers.
How do you strip it away then? Because
The self-coaching I was saying to earlier.
Literally, that voice in your head.
So that experience, do you feel like that's happened several times over with different people, or even that same police officer done that same time, like done that a couple times over?
Brother, be real with you, yeah? To strip back all the situations and look at not the catalyst, but look at the similarities in all these different situations. They're white men, bro.
Yeah.
They're aggressive white guys. Do you get it? Now it's either I've provoked the person or it's unprovoked. It's only ever going to be those two, isn't it?
It's duality.
I mean, for what I've lived, yeah? But the aggressor towards me, being racist, I've said that wrong. It's not always been white men.
Okay.
I'm not going to act like it is. Alhamdulillah. It's not always been white men. But in certain situations it has. Police officer is a white guy. The guy with the carrying the, who asked me to... in the market was a white guy. Yeah. As I've had a guy, and there's been numerous white guys, but come on. We live in a white country. That's what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Understand?
100%.
But I have to say to you as well, I've had my first full English, this is obviously before I was Muslim, at my Welsh white brother's house. Okay. He's not Muslim, but when I was young, it's a Welsh family. I must know that. Big up Goddard. Big up David Goddard. His dad, Clive, and his mum Janet. I always say her name wrong. It's Janet or Janet. I always say her name wrong.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry again. I'm still getting it wrong all these years later. They'd cook for me. So although I'm in an area where one guy's gonna say to me, "No niggas allowed,"
you also got
exactly
100%,
and that has to be said.
100%.
And I feel like there's no shame in that.
No, of course not.
But maybe the young black guys of today aren't having the same experience. Obviously, that I've had. Obviously, my experience is going to be unique to me and my life experiences. But I'm not going to deny that happening, or going to deny that I've got white guys I've got absolute love for. They're like my brothers.
100%.
To get it, and I feel your experience with those white people, the good of it needs to be shared, and the bad of it needs to be shared because there's a balance. Because I've experienced racism from my black mates, or from black people that I know. Do you get it? Because of my accent, we're going way off on a tangent, but we'll come back to it anyway.
This is the point of conversation.
Because of my accent, because I sound like a white dude, bruv. I've had it my whole life. Yeah.
It's Cockney, innit?
Yeah, but because you get it, because we live around here. And if you're cultured enough to understand London, then you understand my accent comes from a certain part of London.
Yeah, rather than race or nationality or anything.
This is it. And my accent also comes from a certain generation as well. Do you get it?
100%.
So generation, location, this is what I sound like. Or it's what we sound like. Do you get it?
Of course.
But then you're going to get some areas in London where you speak and they're like, and they're black and they're like they're shocked, and they're white and they're shocked.
That was going on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what I've had my whole life. White guys, black racism. So if and this happened to me before. I'm at a family gathering, family friends gathering. The majority of us are white or mixed race. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, black or mixed race. Yeah. And I haven't seen these guys for years. Last time we all bucked up we were really small. Okay. But you get to that age where you don't have to go with your mum anymore, you don't have to go there anymore. Like, I'll do my own thing now. So next time there's a family gathering, you're like big teenagers now.
It's been a minute.
You've seen you for like however many years. I'm talking and they're like, bro, you sound so white.
What's happened to you?
Yes.
Where were they from in London, if you don't mind me asking? Or where were they based?
That'll be me exposing them.
Oh, fair. No, that's cool,
Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
That's fine,
They'll know I'm talking about them.
Yeah, I get you.
If 100%. They watch this. But if I say that, it's more pinpointing.
Oh, okay.
And that might bring them embarrassment, you get it?
No, 100%.
So these individuals were like, oh, you sound so white, you've been hanging around with the white guys, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, so what? Yeah. But I felt uncomfortable.
Of course.
And I was made to, because within that conversation, they were insulting white people as well. Do you get it? Because there were a majority black group of friends, and they were still stuck in the divide. So they didn't have, from what I saw, close white friends. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So for them, they might know some white guys, but they weren't tight with anybody white. So that conversation, that language, is easy for them to talk a certain way. Of course. Because their mates are going to put them up and go, look, bro, don't sort of like that. Do you get it? Yeah. Plus, we're young, we're teenagers. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying the older you get, the wiser you get. Of course. Do you get it? So I'd get that from my black peers, and my white peers would be like, you're black, you sound white. Saying the same thing. Do you get it? Yeah. But it's fine.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're young, it's hard for you to it's hard for you to decide which opinions matter to you. What you feel like you should act on or not act on. Yeah. Do you get it? Because you're kind of like, is that right? Yeah. So you're kind of like, me honestly, I go with my heart, and if someone makes me feel warm, I'll stick close to them. Yeah. If they make me feel uncomfortable, like that,
uneasy,
I'll just stay away from them. That's it. And then I have to decide who I've got time to express how I feel to, and who's going to take that on and act upon it. Do you get it? Because it's not everyone you express yourself to cares.
Of course. Yeah.
Or they're going to act upon it.
You got to learn that as well.
Yeah. So then you got to say, well, is this person valuing our friendship the way I am? Do you get it? And then you got to decide, like, this person maybe got to keep at a distance for preservation of yourself. And these people you want to be more close to because you feel like they love and respect you. You get it?
And you benefit from being around them, like, just in terms of peaceful.
Two-way street, bro. Yeah, 100%. So the story.
Yeah, back to the journey.
So people sort of like, oh yeah, you must have been in prison, or you must have been this, or you must have been that. Yeah. I'm like, look, the truth of it is, the truth of it